Good morning and welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. Our next stop is New Orleans Square. Please remain seated, keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside. Watch small children, keep away from the openings. Next stop is New Orleans Square. Supervise your children, please. Thank you.
Hello, folks. Welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. We're now embarking on a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom with stops at New Orleans Square, Mickey's Toontown, and Tomorrowland, followed by a visit to the Grand Canyon and Primeval World. We got a lot of traveling ahead of us, so remember, for a safe trip, you need to stay seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please, watch your children.
Bienvenidos a bordo del Disneyland Railroad. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
Uh-oh. Did you folks hear that? Sounds to me like we've reached the wilds of Adventureland, where you just might run into a lot of savage critters out there, including lions and tigers and tiki birds. Everybody best be on the lookout. You never know just what may show up. We're approaching our first stop, New Orleans Square Station. This station serves Frontierland, New Orleans Square, and Critter Country. If you'll be leaving us here, please remain seated until the train comes to a complete stop. Then watch your step while getting off. Have a good time in the Frontier, yeah? For those of you continuing on with us, we'll be resuming our trip in just a moment. This is New Orleans Square.
Please remain seated until we come to a complete stop. This is New Orleans Square, Critter Country. Sit down, please. Sit down. Sit down. The one on the phone. Sit down. Thank you. Okay. Now you can get up. Next stop is Mickey's Toontown Depot. And watch for dancing chickens on the way.
To those who just joined us, welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. To ensure a safe ride, remember to stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please, watch your kids.
Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
We're now entering Splash Mountain, where every day is a zippity-doo-dah day. If you look real hard, you might just find your laughing place. We're now passing over Critter Country, where Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Brer Rabbit, and Brer Bear make their homes and embark on fun-filled adventures. Although this land was made for critters, human-type folks are always invited to stop in to visit the spell. We're traveling along the rivers of America and into the American frontier as it looked more than a century ago. This area is so rich with natural beauty and wildlife, you can see why the early settlers were inspired to move west. You're seeing this view just like many of them did, from the comfort of a genuine steam-powered train. When these iron horses first started crisscrossing the country in the 1800s, the time it took folks to reach the West dropped from months to a matter of days. Why, steam power not only fueled the train, but the dreams of a whole new generation as they settled this great frontier.
We're rapidly steaming our way to our next stop, Mickey's Toontown Depot. Your stop for Mickey's Toontown, of course, but it's also your stop for all the Fantasyland attractions. And right now we're going to go right by the Halloween Carnival. That's right, there's a lot of fun going over there at this time of year. There's also an all-you-can-eat barbecue. It's Big Thunder Ranch. Pumpkin carving, and a lot of the characters like to hang out there, even some of the villains. Please remain seated till we come to a stop inside the station.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to visit the cartoon town where Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy live? Well, in just a few moments you can find out for yourself, because our next stop is Toontown Depot, official train station for Mickey's Toontown. This is also the nearest stop to Fantasyland, where you'll find many of your favorite Disney animated characters and stories. If you'll be leaving us here, please wait until the train comes to a full stop. Remember your personal belongings, then step carefully from the train. Y'all have fun and say hi to Mickey for me. For those of you continuing on with us, we'll be resuming our trip in just a moment. This is Toontown Depot.
Yeah. There's a small world.
Welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. For your safety, please remain seated at all times, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And make sure little ones are seated away from the open center aisleway of the train car, or they can be seated on an adult's lap. Our next stop will be Tomorrowland.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Disneyland Railroad. For a safe ride, remember to stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please, watch your kids.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Y bienvenidos a bordo. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren. Y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
As we steam on through Fantasyland, you may want to take one more look at the majestic Matterhorn Mountain and the happiest cruise that ever sailed. It's a small world. Ahead of us lies the future. Well, I guess we all know that. What I mean to say is, we're heading into Tomorrowland, where everything is possible. If you look overhead, you might catch a glimpse of a monorail. When Disneyland introduced the monorail back in 1959, it was the first daily operating monorail system in the entire Western Hemisphere. Winding below us is the Autopia, where drivers of all ages can get behind the wheel of a car, and no license is required. If you've ever wanted to become an astronaut, then you might want to stop at Space Mountain and Star Tours, where they got some newfangled flying spaceships that'll launch you into the deepest reaches of space. And you can ride them if you got the mind and the nerve.
Well, folks, we're now approaching Tomorrowland Station. This is your stop for the Autopia, the monorail, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blaster, Star Tours, the Astral Orbiter, Space Mountain Ghost Galaxy, and the Finding Nemo submarines. Also, folks, if you're going to be trying to beat the heat today, since it will be getting quite warm, I would recommend going to the Magic Eye Theater. That's where Captain EO and the Honey, I Shrunk the Audience attraction used to be. And right now they are showing a special sneak preview of the upcoming film, Big Hero 6. Also, you can go into Interventions and enjoy the air conditioning or meet some of your favorite Marvel superheroes. Please remain seated until we come to a full stop, and welcome to Tomorrowland. And make course, your little ones are seated away from the open center aisleway of the train car, or they can be seated on an adult's lap. Our next stop will be Main Street, but first we'll make a detour through the Grand Canyon. So please, as a courtesy to those around you, refrain from using any flash photography or video lighting in the cabins ahead. Thank you. Also, as a reminder, folks, for your travel plans later on in the day, keep in mind the monorail may close later due to the heat, so keep that in mind if you were planning on using the monorail. Probably want to avoid going there in the center of the day, because even if they aren't closed for the heat, it gets really warm in those things. Thank you.
Along the rim of the Grand Canyon. It's a mighty long drop to the canyon floor. So for your safety, stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. Be sure to watch your kids and no flash pictures, please.
Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Por favor, no tome fotografías con flash.
That was the Grand Canyon as we know it today. But it wasn't always that way. Right now, as we travel back in time, back to the fantastic, primeval world, land of the dinosaurs. We're now steaming back to our own time and to Main Street Station, gateway to Disneyland. If you'll be leaving us here, stay in your seat till we come to a full stop. And remember to gather all your personal belongings, including the young'uns if you got any, and step carefully from the train. I'd especially like to thank those of you who've been with me for the grand.
Well, folks are now approaching Main Street Station. This is your stop for Main Street, USA, as well as your closest stop to the main gate of the park. As a friendly reminder, this is our oldest station, so it does have a bit of a quirk. It doesn't have any ramps, it only has stairs. So if you have a stroller or a wheelchair, you'll probably want to leave it folded up to get to the bottom of the stairwell. Now, please remain seated until the train comes to a full and complete stop all the way inside the station. And if you're trying to escape the heat later today, folks, I'd recommend going to the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln show. It's nice and air-conditioned in there. Or you can always visit the ice cream parlor here on Main Street, where the air conditioning and the ice cream, you can't go wrong with that. Now, folks, again, stay safe until we come to a stop, and welcome to Main Street, USA.